Big Biz Show continues inside the Loft 100 studios. Hope you're having a great day. We certainly appreciate you being along for the ride. They are always along for the ride. That is the Day Trader Trio up there on stage. Back here at the bar, it's Costamere, Godwin, and Sully.
Great to have you along today. One of my mentors, closest friends, and attorneys, Ron Blumberg, in studio here. He has been the Big Biz Show attorney of record. We need to have you on a lot more, except for you're in court winning major battles these days.
It's a lot these days, but you just said one of my lawyers. That kind of concerns me.
No, I said one of my best friends and lawyer.
No, you said plural lawyers.
Uh-oh.
Let's roll tape.
Your Honor.
Okay, here we go.
I can tell you, when we're doing business stuff.
That was good.
No, it is good. This is how Ron thinks, and I love him for it. He said, no, wait. It says, you always think like how a judge will think or an attorney will think if things go all the way south.
Well, yeah, or the jury.
Yeah, or the jury.
Yeah.
Because that's how you have to think.
Yeah.
Because just because it looks like you gave me $1, I give you a potato, but the potato was, and you want your money. It's not just as plain and simple as
No.
Were you promised a potato? What kind of $1 was it?
No, well, I teach at Cal Western, so these new young law students, and we're talking about what is law and what can I convince somebody of, and what do you have to write? Do you have to be honest? And I said, no, of course you don't. You just have to prove something to somebody.
Yeah.
And the truth is not what's real, it's what someone's willing to believe. And I'd use this as an example. I'll put up a pen and I'll say, this is a yellow banana. And
Prove it.
Well, I can easily prove it because I'll get an expert who's going to come in and testify that what is yellow? Yellow is, there's some hues of this, whatever it might be. And what's a banana? What's the definition of banana? And if I can convince a jury through an expert that this is a yellow banana, I'm going to win because this is a yellow banana.
Because what I meant was yellow banana brand, blue pens.
Exactly.
You find one yellow banana company that's made one pen, you can win that whole
One
deal.
juror that believes you.
I was asking you before the show why folks domicile in a different state and then have to also register in the state that they're actually in. So, for example, I know our corporation is domiciled in Delaware. We're a Delaware corporation, but we're also registered in California.
Well, you have to. So they're foreign corporations, and anybody can have a LLC or corporation, incorporated principal place of business in any state, obviously. Mm-hmm. Certain states have different tax laws, the processes to each year, what they have to do. Sometimes it's easier than others. It doesn't really make any difference typically. So if you're doing business in California, whether you're a foreign corporation or not, you have to register in California with the Secretary of State and the Franchise Tax Board. And what I want to talk to you about a little bit was, I have this case now, and it's fascinating. It's a molestation case. We've sued the grandfather for molesting 2 little girls. It's horrible. It's horrible. But he's in Texas, and he, quote unquote, the LLC, owns a house in Carlsbad.
Oh.
Which is in California.
It's California. So, but the house is here in California. It's owned by an LLC. So they think that they can be insulated from everything because they're out of state. Well, some molestations happened in that particular house. So we've sued him as a person, a lot of other things, but I got creative and I'm suing the LLC for a dangerous condition on property, where they let something horrible happen and someone got hurt on the property, just like if you slip at a grocery store. Same thing. And I just extended it to this. Well, they're saying they have no liability because the LLC doesn't really conduct business in California. All they do is have family parties here. Well, no, they're wrong. So these lawyers are not very good. They don't know what they're talking about. So it's a foreign corporation that has in California, and they have to register. So the law is, if you own property as a corporation or do business wages or income sales that exceeds about $75,000
in California.
In California, you have to then register it. And if you don't, in essence, you're not doing business here.
And so many corporations, I suppose, are guilty of, we're a foreign corporation, you can't touch me, it's a tax benefit thing, but they fail to do that in the state that they're domiciled in. And I'm assuming not a lot of people, it doesn't come to a lot of people's attention that is kind of a big bad thing.
Oh, it's a huge thing for a lot of reasons. So obviously everyone I think knows that corporations and LLCs, it's a veil of protection that you can insulate the owners from. But because they didn't register, then I'm going to pierce through that corporate veil, and we've named the 2 members, the owners of this LLC,
wow,
as failing to to manage the property properly and allow these girls to get molested.
How difficult is it to pierce a corporate veil? Because I'm assuming if someone uses their business checking account to pay their Nordstrom credit card, you've pierced the corporate veil at that point, right, or no?
Yeah, well, yes, most probably. There's a lot of different layers to that, but I personally have 2 American Express cards and 2 Visa cards.
One in your name, one in the company.
Exactly, and you can't.
Because people need to be, and a lot of that stuff, even if it was unintentional, you paid your cell phone bill that one of your kids happened to be on, it's not about who's right or wrong. Actually, it's not about guilt at that point. It's about the fact that you did it. By the way, you get a speeding ticket. You know, it's not because they had to give you a ticket because even though you didn't intend to, and you were looking at the road, and all of a sudden you look down, oh my God, I'm going 80 miles an hour. Doesn't matter, you're sitting to get a ticket. The intent didn't have anything to do.
Yeah, the whole idea is that you have to separate the business from the personal, and too many small businesses will just take the money, whatever, they just go out to lunch, whatever they want to do, pay their bills that are through the corporation, and if we want to pierce through that veil, then we just look through, we trace all of the activities from the person to the business.
What's if you were to advise, let's say, Johnny Lunchbucket's Deli that wanted to create a corporation or an LLC?
For Board and Brew.
Okay,
Yes.
Board and Brew. Wow, Board
Love them.
Who doesn't love Board and Brew? If you ever come to California,
squaw.
you got to go
Okay.
to. They're talking about Board and Brew. You think it's just a sandwich? It's not.
It's not.
There's some heroin in the juice or something.
So
there. It's
good.
like
The
amazing.
sauce.
If you were to, if you were to help Board and Brew, let's say, start off from the beginning, and they want to do that, would you advise going as a foreign company to the Montana, Delaware thing for the tax purposes, but also, or is it just you should just go to the state that you're in?
No, it doesn't really matter. I don't do tax.
Right.
The tax advisor will say what state would be best to be incorporated in.
Yeah.
But if you have any interest in doing any business in California, again, it's $75,000 and change, the revenue and tax code. That's the threshold. If you own property, so this house is obviously worth more than $75,000.
Sure.
So that alone means they're doing business in California. If you have employees and your salaries are more than 75 for annually, then you're doing business. Or if you have sales in excess of that number, 75 and change, you are doing business in California. And if you don't register with the Secretary of State and the Franchise Tax Board, you have no right to be here, meaning we can obviously pierce through that. There's no veil of protection, and you can't prosecute a claim. So if you have a breach of contract and you want to sue somebody, and you have no standing. You have no standing in California court because you're not properly registered.
Off topic real quick, we only have a few minutes left. Has AI entered the world of law?
Oh my God.
How so?
Oh, well, first of all, you get really horrible lawyers who are doing no work, and they're just doing
like
everything.
The
University of AI.
It's crazy, and if you're not a good lawyer and you're not experienced, and you're going to do that, and you're going to throw something into AI, it gets spit out, and then they don't proofread it. Honest to God,
you can't shortcut your way through any of this stuff anymore. Regardless of AI's telling you, let's say the exercises that they should be doing, telling you the way you should answer, you still have to do the work.
Well,
right?
a lot of people just writing letters now just by speaking into a phone.
Yeah.
And they think they're now lawyers.
Well, I think what I know is that you need to be here more often because, first of all, I love you. Number two, we could talk about everything from essential clauses.
Is that it?
That's it. That's all you get.
Do you live in more than the other lawyers?
You got longer than the other.
Yeah, do you? Great
than my other
question.
lawyers.
I'm the only one who's kept them out of jail.
Yeah. The best part is he's so good I didn't know I was even close to going to jail.
All right, keep it right here. There is much more to come with this edition of the Big Biz Show. We are back right after this.